So it's 6 o'clock. We're waiting for one more to make a quorum, so just hang in tight and we'll get started shortly. All right, everybody, let's get this show started. For the sake of time, it's 6:11. We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. At this time, let's rise for a quick invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. Mark, if you'd be so kind again to lead us in an invocation.
Let's pray. Father, thank you for today. Thank you for those that serve our community and volunteer their time. We ask you to be with them as they make decisions for Los Fresnos, and we pray your continued blessings on each one of them. Thank you for our staff that's here tonight and all that they give and all the employees that give for Los Fresnos. And it's always for us more than a paycheck, and we thank you for that kind of commitment that we have from our employees. Continue to bless Los Fresnos. We ask this in Jesus' name, amen. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any visitors' remarks? Okay, at this time, we'll be starting the public hearing. This will be a public hearing to receive comments from the public on the proposed tax rate for fiscal year 2024, 2025. The time is 6:12. If there is nobody here, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. And at 6:13, and move on to action items. The first action item is consideration and action to utilize excess funds from the 2023-2024 fiscal year for needed purchases. Mark?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, this is part of what I proposed, showed you last time. We've narrowed it to 3. Update our drive-through system, a roof at PD, and flooring at the library. And so we have the funds, excess funds to do that. So we'd like that approval and approval of the budget amendment that goes with it to get those done now.
Any questions or comments from the board? Or is there a motion to be made?
Make a motion to approve the consideration action to utilize excess funds from 2023-2024 fiscal year for the needed purchases.
Okay, motion has been made
I second that motion.
and motion has been seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye and raising your hand. And those who oppose do the same. Motion carries. At this time, we'll start our budget workshop. And Mark, I'm not sure if you want to lead this off.
Yes, I'll leave it all. Jackie, can you give those 2 small papers? The one that says general fund first and then follow with the utility. I just wanted to update that. It reflects what action you just took. And then can you give everybody one? It's the same, it just updated because we had a couple of lighting projects that we thought we could do. We can't, so we moved those to unfunded. And so I just wanted you to have the latest and greatest as we start, both for the general fund and the utility. I guess before we move on from there, do you have any questions that jump out at you? Good that we have a lot of projects, park. Some of that can be funded with CDC funds through the years. Maybe we can get a grant. So anyway, I think it's good for you to know what people have asked. Some of it's you have asked individually or as a group. So just kind of tells the picture of where we're at on both general fund and utility.
Mark, I have a question on
Yes.
a new IT position.
Yes.
Can you give us more information on the need basis? I know we just hired an IT individual director for that position. Good evening, sir.
Given the book to Jackie. Yes. just the need, and Oscar can talk more on it when it gets to his section, but there's more and more attacks. He can tell you how many attacks are on our system that are all the time. And so we need someone that's looking at that and protecting our system wide. You've heard other cities have problems, and even in the valley where they have their system's been ransomed and held for ransom, and emails have been attacked, and they'll go weeks and weeks and weeks without being able to communicate through email, and which is primary source for a lot of us. So we need more time spent on that to protect our system and all of the different programs that we run and operate versus him, hey, I forgot my password, can you help me reset my password? My printer doesn't work, can you help me with my printer, and those kinds of things. And so the needs are just, I think a few years ago when Mr. House was still here, he gave you all kind of a rundown of the, from 5 or 6 years before, when we had citywide 26 computers, and then we had 3 times that as much. So that continues still to grow. Just keeping up with the new system that PD's putting in with the camera system. That takes a lot of technical support. When things running smooth, life is good. When it's not, everybody's screaming and hollering. So that's really the need for the position, to be able to help the end user more and still protect our system the way it needs to be protected. Jackie, can you get that big sheet and spread that out? And then any other questions on that before we go into each individual department?
Mark, on the PD roof, you're scheduling for this year's
Yes.
thing, right?
Yes.
So it'll be done this year.
Yes. Yeah, it's in the column. It should be in the column, funded 23-24. The next column is funded in the proposed budget 24-25, and then the last column is the unfunded, where we don't have the funds for that. We've been working with this sheet. Pablo and Edith did a good job of updating it, and so I wanted to show you that, because as we get to the budget and administration in court and police department, library, emergency management, water and wastewater, you'll see technology maintenance. It has to do with programs that the different departments need to run our operation. Just so you can see it under administration there at the top, social media archives subscription. It's almost $4,200. What that does is anything on social media, anything on text, that has to be saved forever. So if someone questions something or wants to inquire, we have a backup for that. And that's just one little piece of it. And as you go through that, a lot of antivirus programs that help manage the system. Still has to have someone to oversee it, but we've already talked about a few months ago about our electronic agenda system that we use no longer supported, so we'll be going to Newen, that's in there, so, as you go across to court, court management systems, $7,000-8,000. PD radar, just leases of our radars is almost $8,000. Our employee manuals and the police updates that we get, and keep our employment manual up to date is like 14,000. You already improved the car system, about 51,000. Towards the bottom is the system for electronic citations, RMS reports, dispatcher, live scan, fingerprinting. That's just all modules that take in order to, for each department to be able to do their piece. And then you just see those all the way through. So if you got any specific questions on that, I can answer those, but you approved payroll module. You can see that towards the bottom, all the way across. It's, you know, pretty expensive starting off. Then we'll just have a regular annual maintenance. But what that'll do is allow us to do our payroll in-house and not have to go out of the city with that.
Who do we use right now, Mark, if you don't mind?
PayWorks.
On the body cams, hadn't we already approved that?
Yeah, just showing where it's here, and then it'll be in your budget, and this just kind of helps us track all those many programs we have through our accounting system, water system, pay system, court system, like the water. If you see about the top towards the right, 31,000, that's the census. That helps us track the water, and people complain about my water bill's too high. We can go in and look at it by hour, see where the problem exists. So all those things are good, and they help us serve our customers better, but they also cost money.
I know we're doing technology and maintenance, but this goes to the work that our director right now does aside, right? So this is how he facilitates the other departments?
Yeah, all those kind of touch it, and so each department kind of is in charge of that, but when there's a problem with one of them, Oscar's usually the guy that has to do that. So anyways, as you can see, all of those together take up $331,000. It's a lot in agreements that we have with vendors that support us in various functions throughout the city. Anything else for there?
I like that one that we put off for unfunded, the roof and lighting at the basketball courts at Memorial Community Park, $200,000 each. Is that the cost that we have estimated if that project was to happen?
Yes, I got that from the county. I think it's too high, but he actually told me 250, and I said, there's no way it can be 250, but that's what they're gonna spend on the covers at Lorella. So when that happens, we'll be able to go see it and see how it is. I think it's a lot of money, but it's freestanding is one of the problems is when you've got you can't have a pole in the middle, so, and then you have to have lighting to it, whereas we have outdoor lighting now. So then you have to have lighting with that cover, so it's pretty expensive.
Hopefully one day we can get some grant money or something to help us out with that in the future. That'd be nice.
Yes, sir.
Any action we need to take here, Mark?
Nothing on there, I just wanted that to start off there, and then I'm ready to go into the general fund on page 3. We covered the revenue part, so tonight we're gonna do the expense, and I'll do some of them that I'm kinda over, and then each department head will jump up and go over their department, and if there's any questions, so top of page 3 is administration. Really there's only a couple things that I wanted to mention. Auditor, we have a 3-year agreement with them. That's gonna go from $22,750 for the general fund to $27,000. That's part of the agreement that y'all approved last year. The next one that I wanted is about the middle of that administration block where it says telephone. That also includes internet, cell phones, everything. We're doing an upgrade to our internet system for speed because we have more users, because we have more demand, we need speed. Plus, the way we get our internet now is it comes into the police department, and then we have a radio here that receives the signal. Any bad weather, we're down for a while. Usually it comes back even if the weather stays, it'll come in and out. But we'll have a main connection with that. So you can see that increase from about $8,800 this year to $14,000 in the future year. Add a little bit of maintenance of equipment just because as they're building, it's not old yet, still new, but we want to keep it that way and keep maintenance, so we put a little extra dollars there for maintenance that we might have over the year. And then you can see the technology maintenance agreements. The way we budgeted last year, we had 50, and it's really going to be about 72, but it's all of that social media stuff, all of the stuff on that first column of that report that goes in to meet that. The big change is the payroll package that y'all approved about 3 months ago for us to put in the new budget. So you can see that's the total, about $800,000 for administration in that department. Unless you have any other questions, we can move to the next one. Municipal court is Jackie.
Hello. Okay, there's only 2 worth mentioning that have a significant change. If you look halfway through under contract services for the judge, that first column shows the $21,600 for the 2022-2023. We added $5,000 to pay for an additional judge, like a backup judge at that time. Excuse me. This year we're going. So the judge's pay right now is about $20,000 for basic court every Wednesday, and for the times that he comes in for trials. And it's going to be another $10,000 for arraignments because he averages. I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice. He averages 29 arraignments per month at this time, and he is available 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. And should he not be available, he will call us and let us know, and we make arrangements ahead of time. Let me see. So that's for the judge. And then if you scroll down to where the credit card services are, we have a lot more people that are paying credit card now. Not a lot of people come into the office to pay. They pay online through our credit card services. So you see that change from to 45,000. That's pretty much it.
On that credit card charge, once again, is that what we pay or what they pay?
We pay it and they pay it through a fee.
So we pay upfront and when we charge them that fee?
Pablo, do you know how it works? I don't know the details. I know that they cover the charge, the fees. Yeah. But we still have to remit it. Yeah,
It's another line item that shows where it's coming in. This is,
Correct.
yeah, okay,
in the revenue, yes.
okay.
No more questions? No.
The next one, I'll just mention, it's, Pablo kind of handles it, but I'll mention it for him. On tax assessor collector, on top of page 4, that's just what the county, Cameron Appraisal District, charges for collecting property taxes. And then the county contract as well. So those two are they're based on population, and so those fees are pretty well set and given to us, as well as other cities. Any other questions on that? Oscar, on IT? Do you have any stats in the back of your head to talk about any of the questions that were mentioned?
I know you mentioned attacks. We average about 9,000 attacks that we block from our new security services that we've implemented this past year. So we kind of been doing well on that end. That's one of the.
How often do they attack?
So it's a daily thing, and it fluctuates. We can see anywhere between 300 attacks a day, I guess, when they don't have as much time, and upwards of 10,000 attacks. So it really fluctuates. But like I said, that's something that those are the attacks that we stop, and we haven't been hit at all, so.
Yeah, not on wood.
That's a lot of attacks. You know, we don't think about it, but that's a lot of people trying to attack the, I guess, the server, huh? Or,
Just, yeah, our servers in general, and that's all sites. So here, PD and Public Works, library is safe on their own.
any
other
questions
on
for the
that?
board? Anything that you'd like to ask IT?
Mark mentioned that there's sometimes where we are offline because of internet or something like that. So do we have a backup system that we can switch to? I know when I used to do technology, we can forward our domain name to somebody else while the other servers were backed up. Do we have anything like that in place or not?
We don't have anything like that in place. What we do have now is we do have a hardline connection here at City Hall. So we will no longer have to worry about the weather affecting our internet connection. What we are going to do to keep things redundant is utilize those radios that we currently were using as a redundant connection.
But that's for the internet, because I was
Yeah.
talking specifically about the internet, but
Yeah, but
all of our systems, all our finance package systems are backed up, not only here, but they're backed up somewhere in North Texas, and then I think in Colorado, and so all of our systems are backed up as part of services that we have.
Oscar, if approved for the new IT position, how exactly do you plan on utilizing, since he'll be working under you, correct? How exactly, I know Mark mentioned a little bit, but can you give us more information on hours-wise and permanence here on site for either you or anybody else?
Yeah, so there will be a full-time position if they are approved. The biggest way that they're going to be utilized is for the more time-consuming tasks. So there's a lot of things that pop up where it's, spending 4 to 6 hours on the phone with technical support, trying to resolve an issue. And when it's happening, you know, at multiple sites with multiple users, it's kind of an impossible task to keep up with being everywhere at once. So that's really where they're going to step in and kind of take that. And that's going to allow me to focus on the bigger projects that we have coming up. We have 2 server upgrades, we have the PD's camera projects, and the encode migration that coming up over at PD. So we have a lot of bigger projects that are coming up where having those time-consuming tasks taken care of is going to be a big help.
Then now water, wastewater runs 24 hours a day, PD runs 24 hours a day, so having someone besides one person to be able to come in when there's problems at 2 in the morning, when there's problems on a Saturday afternoon, when there's a problem on a Christmas Day, when there's a problem on, you know, because all those functions still continue to operate. Having only one body is not enough to be able to provide the service that not only the residents do, but our own employees need in order to get their functions done.
Have you ever considered getting some interns from Eddie Guerra, I think it is, from the school district? That the kids are doing like programming and web page design and stuff like that for the little day-to-day things that they can do for you?
That's something I've considered bringing up to Mark more as a like teaching opportunity and kind of allowing them to learn from us. But I don't think that they would have the capability to fulfill the need of that position of actually handling those type of tasks.
Anything else? I'll go into elections and let Jackie not talk. You want me to do that? Okay. If you see elections contract, y'all, we already mentioned it, you approved it last time. Our election coming up is gonna be about $16,000 because it's a presidential election. You notice for this next year, we only budgeted a little over 10 because that's what it runs in the off cycle. So next year, if we have an election, it'll be a lot less cheaper because there's not as many voters. They don't have to have as many people at the poll to poll watch and everything. So, and then everything else stays the same under elections. Ready for PD?
Let's do it.
Councilor, Mr. Mayor.
I think the red button, there you go.
There's a couple line items I want to go through. Don't want to go through the whole budget itself, but if you look at the administrative supplies, as you see an increase from last year to this year, 16,000 to 19,000. Might not seem a lot, but you know, there's a cost of increases due to supplies to the PD that it has to happen in order for us to operate and to continue operating the way we are. The printing, the materials that are being mailed out on every day is necessary for us itself. Next item that I'm looking at is uniforms and allowance. And uniforms and allowance, you see the increase from 17,000 to 20,000. The reason that it's an increase is that as we discussed a couple budgets ago that we had an upgrade due to the quality of the uniforms to ensure the better durability of comfort for our officers. Their PUMA is essential to maintain a professional appearance and ensure that the uniforms can withstand the demands of the daily patrol duties. Also, the increase is to accommodate new hires, replace worn-out uniforms, and to make sure these guys are out there representing the seal of service with a nice, clean uniform itself. So, yes, to make a purchase very, very pricey, not just in uniforms, but also the police equipment when it comes to duty gear for the officers to carry on site. Next item, I'm going to go into the telephones. And you see an increase from last year from 19,000 to 27,000. As Mark has discussed earlier, it's the cost to the usage of internet for these phones to operate properly. I'm talking about the actual ticket writers, also body cams and camera systems that have been implemented into the police department, and that's a line item you had already approved from this past fiscal year itself to keep the PD operational. Last but not least, we're gonna go into capital outlay. There's an increase from, well, not an increase, it's just $51,000. And that $51,000 was to purchase new PD radios for the units, which $32,500 came from a grant, $18,500 came from the local funds. So there was not a whole lot of money that came out of the city. It was a grant that we were able to obtain this year to purchase these radios for the units itself.
And y'all approved that a couple months ago.
Now we're gonna go into the technology and maintenance of agreements. As you can see there, it's proposed $122,757. And the reason for that, as Mark had discussed earlier, that's divided among all departments throughout the city itself. And the usage of internet, we're be utilizing more internet services and stuff like that. Of course, we're gonna be cloud-based now. We're not using hard drives anymore to store some of the stuff now, so it's gonna cost a little bit more. So that's the reason why there's an increase there when it comes to that line item itself. Any questions or concerns y'all have?
Yes, sir. On capital outlay, just going back, I just want to get this correct, from actual 316,000 to proposed 51,000. So that's a reduction of 250,000 or something like that. Is that what I'm seeing?
Yeah, 316 was last year.
Could you remind me a little bit, Mark,
And
on
those
how?
were vehicles that we purchased.
Perfect, thank you.
And then this year, the 121 was vehicles that we had back ordered several groups of them. And so that 121 was vehicles for this current year that we're in. And now that is just the radio.
Perfect, thank you. Just kind of wanted
Yeah.
to know the numbers are jumped down quite a bit. I just wanted to know exactly how that was happening.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
John, let me ask you, but on the school support explorers from 24, you went to 122?
On the school support,
That's the last one, that's 30100. 507, 3100.
okay, got it, yep. The increase, the only reason you see an increase when it comes to school supplies, is that it's costing more money in order for us to fulfill the presentation that we're going out to the school, we gotta purchase certain things to take out to the kids. We're just not gonna go out there and give a presentation. There's some goodie bags and stuff that we purchase that go out there throughout the schools within our city itself. So that's what the cost is, it was very pricey.
It's just 6,000.
Yeah, what, appreciate it, sir.
Technology maintenance above it, the 122.
Info. Thank you, John.
All right.
I do appreciate it, guys. I see you guys out there in the elementaries. I know the big effort is to go down younger so the kids are aware of you all and introduce yourself at a much younger age. I think it's perfectly fine, honestly. That's one of the numbers. If I would be able to change, I'd actually take it up a little bit more because I know we do have a lot more elementary schools, and that means you guys are spreading out $6,000 just in 9 elementaries itself. So I do appreciate what you're doing down there, guys.
I may be out of line here, but do you have a report on the chief?
What was that again, sorry?
Doing good.
He's doing good. He's recovered at home. He's made it home since Saturday. Very successful surgery and stuff. Very optimistic. We're expecting him to return back soon. Of course, hopefully he doesn't retire, doesn't return back.
Tell him we wish him all the best.
The next page is page number 5, and at the top is the fire. And as you know, we do a service contract with them, and then there's a few other things involved in there. What they're asking for is for proposed to be at 175 for this coming year, and then to do a 3-year contract, 175, 190, and 200 over 3 years. I think is reasonable. We talked about the cost of fire trucks, $750,000 for one truck, anymore. It's unbelievable. Fortunate that we have, the fire department has a very good contract with the Cameron County Emergency Services District to be able to fund most of their stuff. But the other things in there is insurance, and if you'll recall, that's repaid. They insure through us, and then we bill them, and they turn around and pay us back, so. Nothing real big there. Engineering is the next block, and inspections continue to have a lot of them. It's working very well. I don't think that we're ever gonna see the days of not many inspections anymore.
Is that
With
Mr.
growth.
Ramos? Is that Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Okay.
And then plat reviews are anytime that a subdivision is presented, they pay for those fees. We get revenue out of them. Same way with the building inspection, all of that comes in the revenue side. On the review of plans, it's doubled, and so that we can cover and then make some on all the inspection the same way as plat review. Engineering is just different things through the years that the year that we asked the engineer to do, hey, we want to, one of them right now, Fifth Street, we'd like to extend Fifth Street where it, from Como to the end of the drainage here where it's never been developed. So I go to the engineer and what would it cost to put a street in, what would it cost to put water in, what would it cost to put sewer in, all of those things, so that then I can propose to you, how can we fund that? How can we, because there's two streets, Fifth, if you'll remember, and First Street, that have never had a street, and so those people that own those lots can't do anything with it because there's no street, there's no water, no sewer. So that's an example of what every time, it's no different than an attorney. Every time you call them, they turn I'm sorry. They turn the timer on, so that's what the engineering part is there for.
You just got billed for that.
Yeah, extra. And that's all on those groups. Environmental is code enforcement.
Good afternoon, Mayor, council members. Won't take much of the time. We're right in line from prior years. I think the only one that you would see a significant change, not even significant, about $3,000 change is under, right in the middle, supplies and postage. From $8,000 from last year, it's going up to, or we're requesting $11,000, and just the prices, everything's going up. We take out money from this line item for the mosquito spraying and anything dealing with either environmental or animal control or anything like that we need to purchase. And obviously the prices have been going up, so this is why we're requesting that $3,000 increase there. Besides that, we don't have anything significant being requested in this, on these line items. Any questions?
Prices are going up? I didn't know prices are going up. Are they going up?
I wish I could ignore them, but yeah, you can't ignore the prices.
Yeah,
yes.
nobody
So,
can.
Yeah,
Yep.
we're just trying to keep afloat.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Banda.
The next section is EMS, and just like in fire, on the workers' comp, the building insurance, liability insurance, we bill it through TML, through the city, and they pay once we send them that total. On services, the amount's been $160 for about 5 or 6 years. They're requesting to go up to $180 this year, do a 3-year contract, go $180 this year, $190 next year, and $200 the following year. So we set in for 3 years and, not have to change anything. So that's what they have asked, and, I think it's reasonable. It's not too out of line, so, for the services that they provide. The next page on 6, at the top is, garbage. You can see that, it's contracted garbage, and what it is, when people, we don't budget for it because, when they need a roll-off on a special situation, they request it and we bill it through there, and then they pay it, pay that, whatever that cost is. So that's why you see that 9,000 sitting there. We didn't have any last year, so we're not budgeting for that, because if we get the 9,000, if we have to pay the 9,000, it's because we've gotten it, so it's a wash in the budget. The other just bad debt when people move, and just like, when they move and don't pay their water bill, there's a garbage cart fee that, they might not have paid, so that's the bad debt expense on that.
Does it cost more to put a lien on it than it is really to
Yes.
collect?
Yeah, and if you'll recall, remember, we used to put a lot of liens, but then we just pay to put them on and pay to take them off, because the way, if someone's not paying, they're probably gonna get rid of they're gonna let it, the lot go. And if there's a lien on there, the lien that we have for those services doesn't move to the new owner. Only thing that moves to the new owner that has to settle is the taxes. And so, lot mowing or anything like that, doesn't move forward, so. Good question. Next is, streets and then parks, Carlos Road.
Mayor, council members, on the street budget, there's a couple of line items I'd like you look at. First one is the electricity for street lights. Of course, that's kind of out of our hands, but as we add subdivisions and all that, then we provide the street lighting. The other item I have is under street projects. We have 50,000 allocated, and that's the city match for the some 4 or 5 blocks of streets that are going to be patched through a grant. That's all I have on streets.
You can see it's lower than it has been. We're doing a lot of street repairs right now, and one of the unfunded was, we try to put a 50, 75, 100,000 in case we come up on something on the year, so hopefully this year we don't, because we're doing all this other work, so that's why you don't see that in there, like.
And the drop is there.
Yeah.
I know you work hard, every time infrastructure for me is very important, Mark. Why wouldn't we just leave it there? And in case we need it or not, would it be too more harmful on the budget to just leave it at that amount? And then roll it over to any future projects if we don't need that money for streets? From the 93 to 50,000?
We don't have the money. We would have to, one of these other things that we're talking about, we would have to cut, or one of these items on the list that funded, we would have to, whatever that amount we decided to move from unfunded to there, we would have to take one off, and I don't see any that are there to do, but that's the reason.
Just asking.
That's the only reason why.
Just asking.
Yeah.
On the streetlights, I noticed that there's been some repairs being done in some of the lights. Is that part of the cost that we pay for those repairs or not?
I mean, I can answer,
I couldn't hear.
it's,
I was saying, I noticed that there's been some lights repairs with the new LED, or they're brighter lights or something like that. Does that come from that, fund, from the electricity?
grant?
For the
No.
streetlights, or is that paid, done through AEP or?
AEP does it, it's a flat fee, per street light. And so you don't pay for electric usage, you pay for street light. We have 5 years ago, probably been 5 years, we set up with them as a street light goes out, they replace it with the new LED lights. That's why you'll see some of them, a little bit different color, because the LED has a different hue to it than the old sodium. I believe they're sodium, right? Aren't they sodium lights, the old ones?
Yeah.
Yeah. So a little bit different color. It would cost $1 million to go change them all to LEDs now, so as they go out, they replace them with LED.
Yeah, because I noticed some of the repairs that they've been doing are now with that,
Correct.
LED. It looks a lot brighter now.
Yeah, they're a lot better. I did get a cost to do the main highway, 100 and 1847, but it was too expensive to do that, so we wait for them to go out, and then they'll upgrade them.
Just a question, Mark, not that it will happen or we're planning to happen in terms of, I know we have future or unbudgeted for the lights of the park, the basketball courts and other stuff there. But I just want to kind of pick your brain. If you would have an option to either do that with $400,000 or maybe these walks, these paths that we're doing, putting a little bit of light out there, which would you prefer?
Depends on where it is. The hike and bike trail and the nature park, to me, that's a daytime activity. Because of where it goes around behind houses and close, some people don't want people there with lights and people walking all night long. We know that people aren't gonna be there because it's dark, and so I think it helps security to not have it. When you put the lights, then people start walking, they'll be walking at 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, 4 in the morning, and so I tend to not like that. At Community Park, great. At Memorial Park, great. We can do those and have those lights available, but that's just my personal opinion.
I like that answer. I do.
Just because I try to put myself, if I lived there, would I want a bunch of lights behind me and knowing that people are going to be walking all the time? I probably wouldn't. During the day, it's okay.
If there's a full moon or some pretty stars, you can't really see anything because the lights are on, you know what I mean?
I got a question on some of the stop signs that we have here in the area, in Los Fresnos. Some of them can those are state laws or regulations where they are right now, or can they be moved forward, like maybe 2 feet? There's a lot of areas here in Los Fresnos that you see the stop sign, but you have to roll forward to see if there's a car coming.
The state along Highway 100 in 1847, that's where people question that all the time, and they are put in the location that the state says that they're required to be.
Yeah, and I know, like, I don't know, the Alamo, that corner there where the old Phillips 66 used to be, that's always going to be one of the issues, and the easements at that point really can't do much about that. But yeah, I know we all drive this town, we all know where they're at.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Carlos.
Going to the streets?
Sir?
I'm sorry, parks.
Parks.
You already.
Again, under parks, there's a few line items to mention. One is electricity. That's going to increase some. A lot of this is due to park use. The other line item is mowing machine repairs. And as we all know, we do have a lot of ground to cover, so these machines do work daily, and they'll remain up there. Another one is field maintenance. Well, I'm talking about the ball fields at the community park. There was some repairs done. That was taken out from another, from the CDC, I believe.
Yes.
But the money that we're putting in is for maintenance only. And the last one I have is under the hike and bike trail project, and that's for engineering, for the extension of the hike and bike going west and then turning north down by, what's it, Mesquite?
Yes.
That's all I have under parks.
That's the engineering contract y'all approved with CCRMA, and they agreed to pay it over 3 years. We paid 100 this year, we'll pay 150 next year, and at least 43 or 44,000 for the following year. And it does the engineering on the rest of the hike and bike trail along the irrigation canal and drainage ditches that will be funded through TXDOT in 2026.
Are we responsible with any of this extension going to our south?
We're involved. We've been involved with that piece that they're doing right now. They'll come within about a half a mile, and then that's all the funding that that project has. It's pretty expensive because it's crossing the bridge, and also TXDOT wouldn't allow, if you see the work, the roads here and the ground levels there, they want the trail here. It's better probably, but it is expensive to raise it that high, and so they're raising it
To TXDOT standards
to
for the road?
TxDOT standards. Once they get that phase done, there's one phase left that connects from there to our trail, but it connect it back here in the back where we have to, well,
Jump the
we
drainage
agreed
canal?
to cross the drainage ditch, and they'll fund it to there.
Thank you.
On the item 4 says capital lease for vehicles.
Yes.
Do we lease vehicles, Carlos, or?
Yeah, if you remember, that's the proposal in May or June that we talked about whether we're gonna purchase or lease, and we decided to go on lease and see how that would go. So there's two there, one in PD, and then there's, I can't remember what, there's a total of 6 in Public Works, some of the older vehicles.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
And that's it on parks, unless you have any questions.
Thank you, Carlos.
Thank you.
Library, Angie?
Good evening, council and mayor. The only two items that I.
Can you turn that mic on, ma'am?
I'm sorry. Where do you?
Thank you.
There you go. Okay, sorry about that. So I only have one item, which is the maintenance of the building. As you know, the building is really old, and it's needing a lot of repairs. Our back door, which is the side door leading, facing Nogales Street, is really corroded, and it's really hard to open. I think it's important that we have a good exit there, because other than the front doors, that's the only other exit. So that is needing a lot of repair. And I quoted it at 1,000, but it's probably going to take more than that, but we'll see. As far as the capital outlay, I'm really appreciative of the flooring that will be provided this year. It's really needed. We did a lot of movement of our furniture. Our circulation desk is now sitting at the front entrance, so there are a lot of holes in the existing floor that need repair.
Can I ask you an honest question, ma'am?
Sure.
How long did you have to deal with that? How many years?
Deal with what?
The holes and the repairs of the floors and
Well,
stuff?
we just moved the desk last year, so it's something, I mean, there have always been holes because of movement of shelving, of different things.
Desks and other stuff?
Yes, and that is the original floor that the building was built with. So,
I know you guys, the city gets a lot of use out of it. You guys, the great programs you're running in the summer. If there's any situations like that, feel free to come to Mark. Feel free to come, well, not to us because it goes through Mark, obviously, about stuff like that, because that is something very visual that the community
we try to be out
sees.
there. We try to be out there. We collaborate with the school very, very well. And it took us a while, but we're really encouraged, and we really look to be more accessible. And if people see us out there, it really brings them in to the library
Well,
and to see what's going on.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
You're welcome.
I hope in the near future we can provide a brand-new library facility that'll provide a lot more
That would be
amenities.
fantastic.
That would be a good
Uh,
long-term goal for
yes.
us to work towards.
I think you were at our, what was it, our
Yeah, we did a tour.
rodeo thing?
Yeah, we did a
that we
tour,
had,
saw the
and it was
kids,
kind
saw
of-
everything. You've
yeah.
done a lot with what you have,
Yes,
and it looks very good, and you guys have a lot of good employees there that share a lot of good ideas along,
yes.
and with
It's a-
everybody
it's a-
there.
It's a collaboration.
And,
It's a
and I
group
really
effort.
enjoy it. You guys really do a lot with what you have. So
Thank you.
thank you for everything that you do.
No, thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Angie.
Any
Thank
other
you for everything you do for
Thank
us here, and
Thank you.
cities also.
Yeah, we're there for you.
They use a lot on those internet?
We have the Wi-Fi hotspots, which are not provided by, they are not supported by the city, but they are paid for by county funding, and we do offer those to people. They do check them out frequently. So what it is a Wi-Fi hotspot that they take home, and they can actually connect if they do not have internet at home. It works very well.
Do you guys have any kind of coffee machine in there? I can't recall.
We have a coffee machine, and on request, we will make somebody a cup of coffee. It's a
Okay.
Keurig, you just put the little pot in and make the coffee.
Yeah, I was thinking more like, those nice coffees and stuff. People can read a book.
It would be
drink a
nice,
cup
but
of
we do not
coffee,
have
The
the
space for.
pastries,
space. It would be very nice, but that's something. We did have the garden ladies come, the master gardeners, and they want to do something in the front area. So we're looking at maybe some seating maybe in the back, something like that.
Oh, that's right. I saw Priscilla talking about that. So yeah, good luck with that.
Priscilla and Miss Cruz, yes.
Cruz.
And they're really excited about doing like a small butterfly garden in the front, beautifying, because, we're on Highway 100, so it's really important that we beautify our grounds and that we look nice.
Again, it's those great ideas that you guys are working with and collaborating with. We
Yeah,
appreciate it so much.
It's important to get our community involved, because we're not an island, we are a community, so we need to spread our wings and let everybody, hey, what's your idea?
Awesome. Sounds like a good
Okay.
idea.
Thank you, Angie.
You're welcome. Any questions?
No, I'm good.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
The next section is community center, and we've covered most of that with our grant through the program for the elderly. And so this is just a few items that is not covered, some supplies and maintenance, but very, very little on that piece. The next one's emergency management. Charlie?
afternoon again. Emergency management, not requesting anything at this time, keeping it the same. Been very fortunate not to have any type of serious situations arise that we need to actually use these funds. So we're keeping it the same just in case we need it, it's there. Any questions on that?
No, thank you, Ms. Banda.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
The next items is just other small items. Outsourced payroll, that'll go down as we merge to us doing all of it. Records retention, you see that figure, and that's just an annual amount where they come in and help with our fixed assets and then help categorize. They work with I don't know, Jackie, a 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, 10, 15, and then permanent records. So that's a regular cycle. We put a little bit more money in Thanksgiving, Christmas party. We really should turn that to an employee because you've asked us to come up with some kind of recognition for that. So we added about $2,500 into there to be able to present something to you. We already do departments when they are recognized through the year to do that, and so we'll come with that plan and how that'll all shake out. But that's what that $2,500 extra dollars under that line item is. Transfer out is just agent fees for debt service that we pay, and then community health is just under $60,000. That's the grant amount that they pay to help fund the community health program. Unfortunately, it hasn't gone up in years. It's still right at 60, so nothing changes there because it's the same. And that's all of our general fund budget. Any other questions there? And we can hit the utility fund real quick.
Let's do the utility fund.
Yep. It's on the next page, and you can see number 8. We're not proposing big increase in revenue, just a 1.5% increase on the water. That'll come just by new taps, new water service. The same thing with sewer. We're keeping it pretty steady. We do get some sewer money from Indian Lake and East Rio Hondo because of the areas that are served by water. If you live in those areas, you get billed by them, and then they remit that to us. And so that'll continue. So you can see those figures. Might mention the transfer in about 3/4 of the way. That's money from CDC that helps fund some things in the business area for both water and wastewater. So our budget is about a little over 3.4 million. The expenditures, we'll look on page 9. On the services, kind of repeat the same that we've mentioned. The supplies and postage go up a little bit. Electricity goes up a little bit just through time. Again, the telephone, you can see it's up a little bit because of our internet that we're changing. That'll affect the water plant and sewer plant and that facility there as well. Jackie mentioned credit card expense into court. You see it here too. On the water side, people pay a lot of their bill with credit cards, so that continues to rise, and I think we'll see it continue to rise as time goes on. The bottom of that grouping there is excess water consumption, and you see that we had 267 this year, and it'll be 200 next year. What that is the the excess water that we used while our water plant was down. We're a 4 point, can't even remember now. We're a percentage owner in Southmost Regional, and anytime we get more water than that, we pay whatever that rate is for that. So after this year, that'll go away because the plant's operational and hopefully will continue to be. And that's all in that section. Carlos, I guess, can do the next two sections, materials and supplies, and then repairs and maintenance, or Raul?
Good evening, Mayor and council members. They're in the materials and supplies for water. There isn't much change. We're optimistic on the chemicals, so we reduced our costs. And that's it on the materials. On the repairs and maintenance, we do have an increase on our hydrants. As our city grows, we have more hydrants in our town. So yearly we have an outfit that will do the maintenance on our hydrants. So that's the increase on that section of the budget. And that is
Yeah, those are pretty steady. The next below that is IT. If you'll remember, we do 50% in general fund and then 25% in water, 25% in sewer. So there's no change there. The next page at the top.
yeah, sorry. The next page on the top for capital outlay, one of the items that stands out is meters. As mentioned before, our city has been growing, so we do also buy more meters, and also our meters are kind of at the end of their cycle, so we're starting to replace some of the older meters, which has added the cost to our budget.
So does that also come with the satellite or the electronics that goes with the meters as well?
Yes, the meter is by itself and the radio is separate, and they work off of a radio, so they're not satellite, but we do know where they are and track them. And
It talks back, those radios in each meter talks back to the water tower and then actually to PD because we were there whenever we did it. So we just, instead of moving it, leave it there. I think that's going, isn't that going cloud-based too sometime? The water meters instead of a server? No? I thought I heard them talking about that one day we won't have.
Move it all
We won't have a
online.
machine here, but anyway.
Perfect. One more thing, Raul, with the meters. Do we have stored meters in place here in town for the necessities, buildings, and other stuff that'll pop up for the future? I know we're growing. I just want to make sure that you are supplied well and have enough in storage.
yes, on meters, we usually have meters. We did some years back come into a little a snag. There was a shortage in chips, but we buy a bunch of meters at a time, and recently we pretty much buy like 100 meters in one shipment, so we're fully stocked.
Thank you, sir.
Mark, I would like to ask a question, Mark. On the capacity that we have right now on the water, do we have enough capacity for the houses that we have around the city of Los Fresnos?
Yes, and then some. What are we running right now a day?
Our average is about 600,000 per day. Yeah, but even at the peak moments, we've hit maybe 800, 900,000 per day. So even at our current capacity, before the expansion, we do have enough, which we will expand to 1.5 million gallons per day.
And we'll have enough, is that what you're saying, without a problem?
We're at 1 million gallons, the new plant's 1.5, so even in our peak times,
Highest.
800,000 or so, we're still got quite a bit to flex into. One of the things that either helps or hurts us, we don't get to serve the water, but as we grow, we're getting into areas that are either Almito's service area or East Rio Hondo service area as far as water. So it doesn't impact us like it does some other communities. Now, sewer service, we will continue to grow because our sewer service area is so large.
Yeah,
And we
that's-
talked
that-
about other,
that's-
some
that
plans.
answers my question because,
Yeah.
you know, since we're growing in Nancy, and let's be sure we got enough water on it.
Correct. Some of the Facebook posts after that, after the development by 803 was announced, hey, how about water? Well, that whole area is served by East Rio Hondo, on the water side. So we don't need any more capacity for the water. The sewer is one which, if you remember, we added that into the cost of that development, that they would have to spend about $3 or $4 million to increase our capacity. So
Okay, thank you.
that handles all of the sewer part, the water part. The next one is sewer, and I guess, Raul, you can stay there and handle that on page 10. Not much change.
Not much change, council members and mayor. For sewer, we also kept our budget the same. There isn't much change. We do have on occasion spend a little bit more on our sewer line maintenance, and that's because of our aging infrastructure. But we've managed to stay within our budget and been successful at it. Any questions or comments?
There's the other part on the IT at the bottom of that page. And then the last page, 11, is some of the services. Again, auditor, which you saw, general fund, we spread it out, some to the sewer. Again, credit card expenses there that we mentioned before, and otherwise it's pretty steady on the expenses under services and miscellaneous. And then you get into depreciation and all of the debt payments that Pablo makes for that. Any questions with that?
No, thank you.
Thank you.
So what's next, Mark? We covered the rest of the stuff last time, right?
Yes,
All
we
the other
covered
stuff?
all the rest, so, over the next couple of weeks, if you've got questions or concerns, bring them to me. We will officially approve the budget and tax rate on September 3rd and then September 10th. The September 3rd meeting should be a little quicker, and then the 10th is the normal one.
All righty, so that completes our budget workshop for today. I appreciate everybody here that came in to discuss their areas. Hope you folks have a good evening. Time is 7:25, and we'll go to adjourn the meeting. Thank you and have a good day.
Thank you, guys.